Fill your cart at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and save 30% using coupon code SAVE30. Valid 3 days only, Wednesday, September 22nd through Friday, September 24th. Save over $10 on a 5% play. Save over $35 on a 7-day all-access package. Save over $600 on a full year of all-access and get in on every sport. Or load your cart with all of the above and save over $645. Remember, you can only use one coupon at WagerTalk and one coupon at Sports Memo per customer between now and Friday at midnight. So make sure to load your cart full and maximize your 30% savings.
Yeah! Teddy covers. Just wanted to get you a little worried. What happened to the Prez? Did he blank? Did he blank? Anyway, it's Lawrence, Prez and Teddy covers. You're watching WagerTalk Today. Welcome, everybody. September 22nd show. It's a Wednesday. Steve Merril joining us right off the top. We're going to talk. And, well, when I say we're going to talk, he's going to talk. UNLV, Fresno State, Bears and Browns game, Royals and Indians, Teddy's big game breakdown, Arthur DiCesare, and maybe a presidential address. Depends on how many likes we get. Teddy, how are you? I lost last night in baseball, but I won my hockey game. 5-3. I scored on my own net, but it still felt good. How did you do?
So, of course, my big game breakdown today will be the Colts and the Titans in NFL action. I won my only MLB play last night, having a good week in baseball so far this week. But, Prez, as we know right now, the focus largely on the football side of the equation, not so much your hockey game. And we're going to talk about MLB. I'm going to talk about MLB and what I learned last night. But right now, baseball, as it is during the pennant race, plays second fiddle to football when September rolls around.
Yeah, Teddy, I think I'm going to shut the baseball season down until the playoffs start. I'm not in rhythm. And I don't want to put out bets unless they win, frankly. Now, I don't have the say in that. But you know ahead of time when you're out of rhythm, and you just know, right? I mean, you're like, I'm gonna put this play up. I love it. The second you hit submit, oh God, it's a loser. So I'm shutting it down.
Yeah, and a lot of people do in MLB. In fact, let me talk about that right at the top here. We talk about what bettors learned last night because it's very clear. All right, the betting markets are not focused on MLB in September. Dave Sharapin basically came on the show yesterday and says, yeah, no one's paying attention to it. The wise guys, not so much. The odds makers, not so much. So if you're focused on baseball right now, it's very clear there's money to be made. Look, the Cardinals have a 10-game win streak. They've been underdogs 7 times during that span. They were plus 180 in the first 2 games of this series in Milwaukee. You're riding St. Louis and paying attention, you know that's a bad number. Since the last week of August. You know, the playoff contending Reds, they've lost at minus 195, minus $2, minus 2.25, minus 155, minus 170, minus 155, minus 225 last night. And that's not even counting the minus 110s and minus 120s. The Mets have collapsed, 3-9 their last 12 at minus 170 or higher multiple losses. The Padres have collapsed 2-8 their last 10. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for San Diego. If you have the time and the energy, there's money to be made betting baseball right now. For what it's worth, it's not the season that I'm ready to turn my back on just yet. The short lists have been good, and this week the plays have been good for myself and my clients. So that's me, Prez. What did you learn last night besides how to get an own netter in your hockey game?
I learned that it's time to shut baseball down until the playoffs start. That is about it, bro. And you got something to talk about, or we've moved? Did you just do it already while I was like doing some other stuff because you bore me? You don't really bore me, but I have to put up with you all day long every day. Oh,
no,
Theodore.
Fred, not all day every day. You and I hang out for 45 minutes every morning. And then most of the time, on good days, I don't have to talk to you again.
Yes. I'm gonna text you tonight. Are you playing tonight? I'm texting you right smack. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till your game is winning, and then I'm just gonna text you right in the middle of it.
Ooh.
Please. Ooh. Steve Merril, bring some life to the show, brother. How are you, man? Shout out to you hosting for me last week. Greatly appreciated. And you will be hosting again October 1st to the 6th, although there's a weekend smacked in the middle of there. But thanks, dude. How are you, man?
Look at Teddy. It's like Christmas early for Teddy right there. He just realized for the first 6 days of October, he will not have to talk to you. Look at that look. That's the biggest smile Teddy's going to have all week, Prez.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Steve, you want a feel-good story. I mean, maybe it's Christmas because he gets to talk to you. Why are you looking at it like he does? Christmas is not talking to me.
You are one of the three wise men. You really are. You're so damn right about that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on. Anybody who gets a chance to talk to you, that's Christmas Day, baby.
I talk to myself every day and night. It's fantastic.
Okay, we got to move on. Dude, are you winning? You losing? I haven't been following you because I'm stuck in my own research. How you been?
Yeah, it was a really good week in football. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 7-2 combined in college and pro. Missed a couple baseball plays the last couple of nights, though. So, I agree with Teddy. I do think there's still good value in baseball. I have been treading kind of lightly, though, picking my spots. But still number one this year in WagerTalk in MLB total. So it's been a great MLB total season, and I expect that to continue. And, of course, playoffs 2 weeks away. I love the MLB playoffs. We get the entire month of October into November this year.
Steve, let's get into the first game. College football, UNLV, Fresno State, minus 30.5 for Fresno State. 50.5 is the total. Wow. Those are correlated. Let's all do it together, guys. Oh, Teddy, bugger off.
Not the total.
You're the one. I asked you.
I know, and you somehow, between me saying it to you and you saying it on air, you ended up at 50.5 versus 58.5, and I'm not sure exactly how that happened. Total, 30.5 is the total, 58.5, as we went through twice before the show.
Steve, welcome to WagerTalk Today. How are you handicapping that show, bro?
Yeah, I apologize, Prez, for not putting the lines in the overnight memo, but they do move, and I thought we could all use the free WagerTalk live odds screen, wt.buzz/beta odds if you want a shortcut for it. But yeah, right now the consensus line at WagerTalk live odds is 30.5, 58.5. I don't care about the total, though. We don't have to worry about that. I'm going to look at the side in this one. And I had to talk about Teddy Covers, UNLV running Rebels. He goes to every single game, loyal season ticket holder. And he's got a good one this season to watch because this is maybe as bad. Maybe they play Connecticut or UMass, they'll get a win. But this is a team, I believe their over-under win total was either 1/2 or 1.5. I know it wasn't more than 1.5. And 1.5. And they very well might not get there because they lost that opener against Eastern Washington as a 1.5-point favorite. They've been big dogs the last 2 weeks against Arizona State and Iowa State. I actually played against them with Arizona State a couple weeks ago. They did not. They did cover that game. Arizona State dominated, though. Felt like I was going to get the cover there. They won 37-10 as a 35-point favorite. But last week, 32-point dog against a mad Iowa State team at home. UNLV loses by 45. There's only one way to play this one on Friday night, and that's Fresno. Now, I know they're coming off an emotional win against UCLA last week, and they're on a short week. That is the concern here. There's always a concern with every play. But the thing about UNLV, and the reason I wanted to talk about this game, is we talk about backdoor cover potential. We don't bet on hope. And if you're betting UNLV here, you're just hoping they cover or get the backdoor cover. And that's not going to happen with the team that's averaging 4.9 yards per pass, 3.7 yards per play, 15 points a game. This is a textbook example of a team that does not have backdoor cover potential. Fresno averaging 43 points a game, almost 10 yards per pass. They'll get out to a big lead. And I think they can extend it. And I know they have a look ahead next week at Hawaii. They're coming off the UCLA road game. This could be a little bit of a sandwich spot. But the fact that it's a Friday night standalone home game, I think negates that. And friends do not let friends play on UNLV this season. That'll be my memo for that game.
So, interesting that you take that side, because when you put this game up there, I thought for sure you were going to talk about UNLV as being the plus price at the big dog because of the spot for Fresno. I used UNLV earlier in the week as a big game breakdown. And I'm like, you can't make money betting bad teams, but this is the mother of all bad spots for the home favorite. When you're talking about a wild, come from behind twice in the last 7 minutes win over UCLA. You have a vacation in Hawaii next week. And here all you have to do is beat the Rebels, and go home. And it's not hard to beat the Rebels. Does Fresno, is this one of these situations where you expect if Fresno just lines up and runs the football 50 times in this game, they're going to move the ball down the field and score touchdowns and beat UNLV by margin? Or is this a spot where you just think the Rebels are just so bad? I watched the Rebels come through the back door week 1. They didn't win, ended up losing an OT, but they were able to move the football down the stretch of that ball game. And obviously this defense, not Arizona State and not Iowa State. Not close to either one. Give me your take on my thoughts supporting the Rebels in this one as opposed to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Fresno's allowing just 19.5 on the season. They're allowing just 4.4 yards per play. So I think this defense might be a little bit better than we all realize. But I'll tell you what, Teddy, I think the letdown spot might actually be in Hawaii next week for the reason you just said, because that's the vacation. They maybe are looking forward to, but this is a standalone Friday night national TV game at home. And that's why I think it negates the normal sandwich letdown spot that might appear on the schedule. I think if you're looking for a flat spot, it actually might be at Hawaii next week. I don't think Fresno is going to be able to help but blow out UNLV. And as I said earlier, UNLV just has no backdoor cover potential. They can't throw the ball. They're terrible offensively. So I think Fresno wins by margin. Lay it and play. It's the only way I would look at this one.
Look at that, eh? Teddy's got, if I'm laying, I'm playing. You've got lay it or play it or whatever. I need something catchy, man. I need to feel part of the team. Anyway, Steve Merril, Cleveland Browns hosting the Chicago Bears. Looks like Fields going to play. -7 for Cleveland, 45.5 is the total. I'm going to be talking about this game on the NFL Presidential Address, and my gut feel right off the bat was the under in this game. I just think we are. I'll tell you flat out. I mean, if go look at running props, guys. This is going to be a game of old school smash mouth down the middle running. How do you handicap this one?
Yeah, Prez, that's actually why I wanted to talk about this one, because the under obviously makes sense with both quarterbacks banged up. By the way, Baker Mayfield is expected to play. His left shoulder got hurt. There's no structural damage for the MRI on Monday, so Mayfield I expect to be in there. As you said, Dalton is questionable, but it looks like he probably will not play. That actually is an upgrade for the Bears. He's been just terrible the last couple of years with different teams. But the reason I wanted to talk about the total here is actually one of the most public, if not the most public underplays this week looks to be in this game. And that's a real red flag for me. So I would tread lightly on the under in this one, guys. I'd actually lean over by default just because I'd love to fade the public when they aren't unders. Because as you guys know, the public generally plays overs and favorites. It's something I talk a lot about in my weekend video every week, my Fade the Public NFL video right here on WagerTalk TV. This does look like one of the most public unders this week. So be careful with that. I'd lean over for that reason, but I'll take Cleveland at -7 or less. I think we get a discount here because of the Mayfield injury. This line would have definitely been higher otherwise. It's his non-throwing arm. Yes, they might run the ball a little bit more, but he still leads the league in accuracy this year, completion percentage. This is a potent offensive team. And once again, we talked about UNLV. It's the same theme. As you guys know, I like themes when I come on every week. And this is another Chicago team that does not have backdoor cover potential. Maybe with Fields in there, there'll be a change, but he has not looked good so far. Dalton has looked terrible. He's injured on top of it. The Chicago Bears team, after 2 games this season, 17 points a game, but they're averaging just 4 yards per pass attempt and just 4.3 yards per play. So once again, a terrible passing offense that is likely to be down in this game makes it tough to come from behind. Cleveland at -7 or less, I think it's a little bit of a discount there based on the Mayfield injury, which might not be as much of a factor.
So I want to ask you this. When it comes to the Browns laying points, and now obviously if you're laying 7, they have to win by more than a touchdown for you to cover. Without Jarvis Landry, who's now on the IR, without OBJ, who may play this weekend. If he plays, I'm not sure he's going to be near 100%. Basically, last week, there wasn't a whole lot of downfield passing from Baker Mayfield and the Browns. I think they had 2 completions of longer than 15 yards for the entire ball game, or I know two of 20 yards or more for the entire ball game. So, limited in terms of their big play potential. Does that concern you here against a Bears defense that's pretty solid when you're asking your favorite to win this one by margin?
Yeah, no, I mean, one thing, that's another reason it's hard to argue against the under, as I was talking about. But once again, it looks pretty public here, so that'll keep me off of it. But one thing you might want to consider doing, and I do agree with you, Teddy, and I was looking at this initially as a teaser play. And, my steady, fast teaser rules is I want to get both 3 and 7. We've talked about that numerous times. So when a line is -7, technically, it's mathematically not strong enough long-term to be a teaser play. You want it 7.5 or 8 because that means that 7 is worth more. But I still feel like this line should be a little bit higher. So I have no problem teasing Cleveland from -7 down to -1. You get them in a straight-up win situation, and it takes some of that worry away. So I do think Cleveland makes sense on a 6-point teaser, especially if you think it's going to be a tight game. Taking them down to -1 gets them in a straight-up win situation at home.
Steve Merril joining us, everybody. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Steve, you got a promo code for our listeners. Why don't you explain?
Yeah, I had this last week, and a lot of people took advantage. But as I mentioned, a lot of people didn't, and they missed out on a huge weekend in college and pro football. Went 7-2 combined on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday alone in college and pro football. So one more time, you get a full week. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com for just $79. It's normally $119. So you're getting a $40 discount instantly with promo code Merril79. That's 2 R's, 1 L. Merril79. Full 7 days and nights of all sports, not just football, but baseball also. This will take you through all the way through next Tuesday night. Get the full week of college and pro football and the next 7 days and nights of baseball. I've got a strong MLB best bet tonight. Merril79 gets it done.
Steve, before we get into the next game, Teddy and I need help. I call our listeners. He gets mad at me all the time. He thinks they're viewers.
So
I don't know. I don't know where to go from there, Teddy. I mean, we had a tweet yesterday. What?
Yeah, we got a tweet from someone saying, yes, I'm listening to this show. I'm not watching it. I'm listening to it on podcast. And of course, you can find Wager Talk Today on all your major podcast outlets. Very easy to download and listen to on a daily basis. Nonetheless, when I look at a camera when I'm talking, that means they're viewers. When I don't, they're listeners. What's your take, Steve? You decide this debate.
Yeah, no, it's a great debate because as a great handicapper, we have to adjust on the fly, right? We have to be flexible and nimble. And I would have totally said we were viewers for the last year or so. But just the other week when I realized we get 100,000 plus podcast downloads a week, and then people are probably working at their desk and doing other things right now. I agree. When I wet the hair down, I feel like they're viewers, but 90% are probably listening and not looking for that reason right damn there. It's exactly why we have less viewers on a daily basis and more listeners. But yeah, I know what you're saying, Teddy. I say viewers as well, but 9 out of 10 are probably listening and not watching. And could you blame them? 95% are now not watching. 96, 97.
97. What did Dan just Dan, what did you just slack? Well, let's look. Dan wanted to weigh in. You're just being all inclusive. Yeah. Anyway, bugger off, Steve. Let's get into the next game, dude. Baseball. Cleveland against Kansas City. Hernandez versus Allen -105 for the Indians. A total of 9 on tap. Break it down.
Yeah, all seriousness, when I gave out that promo code Merril79, Teddy, I do spell it now because I realize we do have more listeners than I realized. So 2 R's, 1 L, Merril79, a full week for $79. WagerTalk.com. But we're going to look at a baseball game, and I do have a baseball best bet tonight, as I mentioned. So I don't want everybody to overlook baseball. Teddy mentioned baseball's red hot for him. The last couple of weeks of the regular season has value, and a lot of times that is playing games that involve, non-playoff caliber teams. And this is one. We've got Kansas City at Cleveland. Both teams are out of the playoff race. Yet Kansas City's still playing hard. They're still hitting the ball extremely well. Took a shot last night with my free play on the baseball show with the over in this game. It did not work out. But one of the things I mentioned was that Kansas City's offense has been sneaky good. They put up 11 runs and 15 hits in just that little 7-inning doubleheaders on Monday. They've had 5 runs or more in 8 of the previous 13 games. And then last night they go and they put up just 1 run. They lose 4-1, but it was a little misleading because they actually had 9 hits in that game still. Cleveland only had 5 hits. In fact, the Indians have now had 6 hits or less in 3 straight games, and they've scored 2 runs or less in 2 of those 3. I still think Kansas City's in better current form offensively. 2 teams that have nothing to play for. And now we get them at a pick 'em price. It actually was pick 'em overnight, and that's one of the reasons I don't like sending lines overnight is because they move. We now have Kansas City minus $1.15 as a slight road favorite. I agree with that line move, though. We also get the much better pitcher on the mound with Hernandez over Allen, 3.7 versus 7.3 ERA. So better pitcher, hotter offense, still at a basic pick 'em price. Kansas City Royals minus $1.15. That is an early evening start at 6:10 Eastern tonight on Wednesday.
Yeah, and of course, Hernandez, they've been winning for Hernandez, 7-3 in his 10 starts. Allen, the Indians just 2-9 with him on the hill. But I want to ask you said that Cleveland's offense isn't doing anything right now. And they just had like back-to-back games where they pounded 11 runs in the Bronx against the Yankees after scoring 12 in Minnesota. Do you worry at all that of these two teams, Cleveland has the capacity to put up runs in bunches? I mean, the Royals have been held to a single run twice in the last 4 games. They've been held to 2 or less 4 times in their last 7.
It's a good point, but this is actually something I'm glad you brought up because, once again, as you said, they put runs in bunches. They had 11, 11, and 12 in 3 different games. Guess what? In 10 of their other 11 games on each side of that, they've scored 3 runs or less. So they've actually overall been a pretty weak offensive team. And you're right. Yeah, maybe they get to Hernandez, but like you said, he's pitched pretty well, and Kansas City's played well for him. I think that's more just Cleveland getting a couple pitchers that were off. I like to look at the overall median, kind of the big picture, 10, 12-game sample. And as I said, Kansas City just 1 run last night. They still had 9 hits. They'd still scored 5 or more in 8 of the previous 13. I think, long-term, anything can happen in a one-game situation. But I think over the last couple of weeks, Kansas City has been the better and definitely the more consistent offensive team.
Awesome stuff, Steve. Thanks for joining us, brother. We'll see you most Wednesdays. And, of course, you'll be hosting the show alongside Teddy October 1st to the 6 guys. We have 71. Bugger off, Teddy. 300 of you live, 71 likes. 70 likes. We just had a guy remove a like. 71. Anyway, 29 more likes, and there'll be a presidential address today, and it's going to be all NFL. So I would want to hear it if I were you. Steve, what do you got to promote?
I love it, man. You're making people like it to see more of you. We'll see how that works out. I think it'll work out well. Merril 79 is the promo code for 1 week all sports. The next 7 days and nights, football and baseball. College and pro football went 7-2 last weekend. Get 7 days and nights. Merril 79 is 2 R's, 1 L. Merril 79, WagerTalk.com.
Get out of here. We're going to take a quick break. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown, Arthur DiCesare, the daily presidential address, and perhaps some laughs along the way.
Would you like to bet $20 and win $100 at BetMGM regardless of your wager's outcome and get $100 in free wager bucks? Just go to wt.buzz/MGM for more details and find out if you're eligible for this amazing offer.
It is time for today's Big Game Breakdown. Let's talk a little NFL for Sunday. Titans and the Colts right now. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm seeing Tennessee a 5.5-point favorite at most books. There are some 5s out there. Total of 48. Before I get into the breakdown, hey, it's promo time. Running good in baseball this week. You do have a pair of selections up in MLB for tonight. You can get those right now over at WagerTalk and or sportsmemo.com. And of course, the football's been rock solid from the get-go. I should have selections up later today in the NFL, and we're posting NFL and college on Thursday and Friday as well. So the card coming together. You can get all those plays right now at WagerTalk and or Sports Memo. So we have a quarterback injury for Indy, and we don't know if Carson Wentz is going to play. Maybe is the answer. He has, both ankles are sprained for Wentz. If Wentz does play, the line is likely to go down a little bit. Tennessee minus 5.5, maybe it goes down to 4.5, maybe it even goes down to 4. I don't think it crosses the key number of 4. Certainly not going to get down to 3. But if Wentz doesn't play, all right, so you'll get a little bit of line value if you take Indy now at plus 5.5. If Wentz ends up playing, the line will close shorter. But it's not going to close shorter across a key number. If Jacob Eason plays, Tennessee's going to be laying a touchdown or more here. So if you bet Tennessee now, you're getting the best of it around a key number. because this line can only go up. I would expect it to go up at more than a touchdown, go off at more than a touchdown if Eason plays QB for Indy. Jacob Eason is not an NFL quarterback, all right? And Wentz is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Indy injuries. Pay attention in September to injuries. Just ask anyone that liked the 49ers last year. All right. Indy has an injury report. It's a mile long, a bunch of key players, offensive line injuries, wide receiver injuries, key defensive injuries for the Colts. 4-4, the last 8 meetings between these two teams over the last 4 years. The straight-up winner has covered all 8 of those games. 3 of the 4 Titans wins have come by 2 touchdowns or more, including when they met last year in Tennessee, 45-26. The Titans were dogs in that game. It was over by halftime. I'm not convinced that this one's going to be over by halftime, but Indy's a team to bet against, and I have no hesitation taking Tennessee now at this price, thinking this line has a reasonable chance to go up. So look at the Titans, -5.5 against the Colts. That's why we want to play it early, and there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Great take, Teddy. Let's bring Art DiCesare in. And man, I haven't seen or spoke to Art in ages. You look different. Are those new teeth?
No, but the top button's still here.
Oh, yeah. You're so proud of yourself with that top button.
These guys are dying over here.
How are we doing?
Oh, my God.
So
I just like looking at his face, like the pleasure that he got. But like I could see him in the mirror today. He's like, Prez, I'm going to bug Prez. I'm going to do this. Hey, listen, if you want to look silly just to bother me, I'm okay with that, Art DiCesare.
Let's start with this, though. He doesn't look silly. He looks sharp. And make no mistake about it, Prez. Art is a guy who loves being on this show. When Art wasn't on the last time, he texted me all the time. He's like, dude, I miss it. I miss being with you guys. I love doing this. And his last week he said 99.9% I'll be able to go on next week. I'm like, I'm taking the under. I'm betting against you. He texted me yesterday. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, damn, I lost my bet. I'm glad to have you on. But Art he loves being on the show. And he thinks it. He was sleeping last night thinking about buttoning that button. That was what he was dreaming about.
No doubt, dude. Wait till the winter comes. He's coming on full turtleneck. Anyway, Art, is turtlenecks a thing still? Anyway. Congratulations on your new gig, bro. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, listen, let me first of all say both of you have been very kind, obviously off air, giving me congratulations, giving me nice little notes. Obviously, I saw Teddy in person, basically like the first, I want to say it was like, I've been there 3 or 4 days at the SuperBook, and Teddy had come in. So, we were able to actually see each other in person and say hi. But, got a brand new gig over at the Westgate, doing the same thing, being a supervisor, line supervisor on the front line. So, I'll be able to do the same things I've always done with people and, talk to guests and, help people out and just, be there, to help the betting public get their bets in and, learn and kind of figure out what they're doing. So it was a great opportunity. Listen, I'm very thankful for my time at the Link. They were great to me over there, but I'm very excited about my brand new opportunity at the Westgate, and I've been re-energized, and it's a great place to work. So very excited to be at the Westgate.
And Art, I want to ask you about some behind-the-scenes stuff at sportsbooks, because people are people spend a lot of time thinking about sportsbooks, but in terms of the nuances of how they actually run, I don't know that the general public understands a lot of it. When it comes to moving up the ladder in Las Vegas, if you decide I want to work in sportsbooks and I want to become a sportsbook director one day, every single sportsbook director that I know in town has bounced around from one place to the next. And you end up you have to move to a different company in order to get the promotion that you're looking for. That's kind of how it works. Is that your goal? Do you want to be a sportsbook director someday? Do you want to be running one of these gigs? And is it difficult? Was it difficult for you to say goodbye at the Link, even knowing that you've got a real good opportunity over at the Westgate Super?
Yeah, definitely, Teddy. I mean, the link gave me my, opportunity. It gave me, the chance to break into this business. So I'll always be grateful for the link and for the people who gave me my opportunity over there. But yeah, I think in anything, when you find something you love, and this is obviously a business and an industry I love, like your goal is to get with the best companies. To me, the Westgate there's no one better, and to see how far you can push it. Obviously, I made a lateral move, so I'm still in the same sort of position as a supervisor, but the goal is to be able to move up as far as you can in life. And the Westgate gives you a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities with the risk team and being involved in that if you want. So there's a lot of different ways you can go, but yeah, I think life is all about taking chances, and this was definitely a chance I couldn't pass up.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Art, and we're thrilled you can remain with us. Oh, that laugh knocked me out. Art, couple of quick things. Schmidt, one of our listeners, writes, anyone ever place a 5K wager in a Vegas sports book? Do you get any good comps? Why don't you take that question?
Sure. I mean, first of all, it depends on what property you're at. Most properties are going to tie, all bets to cards, same things you do when you play blackjack or roulette or slots. So it just depends. If you're a new bettor, obviously it's not going to be, yes, 5K is a very healthy bet, but, you obviously have to establish betting trends over a long time to really start to get comps. But I'll say this, if you go into a place, you get signed up, you start getting your points going, and you start with a nice healthy bet of 5K, and you continue to bet in that type of range, yes, eventually you will get some nice comps.
Sure. So, and let me do a quick follow on that before we get into actionable info, because people so interested in the comp side of the equation that they often miss the bigger picture. What kind of comps does SuperBook give? Do big bettors get rooms? Do big bettors get meals? What do you guys give out over there?
Yeah, I mean, we can work anything from, like you said, meals. We can, get to rooms at some point. The big thing for us is we have a lot of VIP booths. So if you're a bettor who comes in and establishes throughout the football season that you're making nice size bets, we can get you one of those personalized VIP booths in the back that kind of has its own little thing where you're not, quote unquote, sitting with the general public. You're controlling your own TVs. You have a personal cocktail waitress. So, yeah, there are things of that nature that you can get because obviously on football Sundays, even football Saturdays, seats are very hard to come by in the sports book sometimes.
And having sat in those booths, they're really
Sorry,
nice.
Teddy. I was hoping you had some action in those booths, a pun, if you will.
We had all
Art,
kinds
so
of
Teddy.
I've won bets and lost bets in those booths. So I've had, plenty of action. Art, let's talk some actionable info for Prez, do you have something? You asked me to go with actionable info here.
Yeah, no, go. Let's go. I have
when I
questions
started
for Art, but we'll have to wait till the end of the football season.
Fair enough. So let's talk about today's card. And I know the focus right now is not on baseball. Let's talk baseball right off the top. Are you getting significant action the last couple of weeks, or does the handle in baseball really drop once football season starts? And are you seeing the wise guys making the moves that they were making all summer, or is their bankroll tied up in football as well?
When you're looking at the last 3, 4, now 2 weeks in the baseball season, obviously with football coming into swing, yeah, it definitely drops off a little bit, but I think the guys, the sharper guys who have bet the MLB all season, they stick with it. They stick right through it. They're going to find some value if they can. Obviously maybe they'll try to find some dogs that they can find where, maybe some of these favorites don't necessarily need the game, but yeah, the baseball handle is what it is and always will be. Obviously, once football comes, football is the king. But, even if you look at today, there have been some moves. We had the Reds minus 250, went to minus 280. So there's a 30-cent move on the Reds against the Pirates. Obviously, the Reds are looking to bounce back. And then St. Louis, man, that 10-game win streak, they have been as hot as you can be. I mean, a month ago, no one thought they would make the playoffs. Now, I mean, they're making the playoffs,
Yes.
whatever. San Diego's done. I mean, they're fighting in the dugout. They're all done. St. Louis is making it. So, you've seen a little bit of a 10-cent move on the Brewers. We had that minus 116. Now it's minus 127. So people are looking for maybe St. Louis to finally give up a game here after this 10-game win streak.
Sure, but it feels like there's been money coming against St. Louis pretty regularly during this win streak. The wise guys have been trying to fade them, and that obviously has not been a particularly profitable late season MLB strategy. Let's shift focus to college football. Let's start with this. How's the handle at the Westgate? Is the handle through the roof? Are you guys beating last year's numbers? Are you excited about where the money's coming? Is there anything actionable that we've seen that the sharp money's come in on so far this week?
Yeah, college football has been great. College football is always like, to me, it used to be the appetizer before Sunday, but man, it's almost like mini Sundays now. College football is great. The full day of college football is wonderful because obviously you're starting at 9 a.m., you're basically going to 9 p.m. So you just get that full slate of games all day. So I think college football is as good as it gets. Obviously the NFL is always going to be the NFL, but college football is right there now. And as far as the college football so far, I'd say the two things that I've seen so far is there's been some money coming in on that Texas Tech over. It was 61. It's only moved half a point, 61.5, but seen some sharp money coming in on that over. And then an interesting game. We had Tennessee plus 20.5. It's moved down to 19.5. Florida, maybe they have a little bit of an Alabama hangover. I don't know. It's tough to trust Tennessee lately, with the way their program's been. But, basically getting 3 touchdowns in an SEC game with, not a bad team in Tennessee. So I've seen a little bit of Tennessee money as well. That's why the points dropped. The point spread has dropped a point.
And I want to ask you about some of the weeknight games in college football. We talked about Marshall and App State on this show earlier this week. We talked about UNLV and Fresno as a national TV game on Friday earlier in the week. Give me some thoughts on those two games in particular, the Thursday and Friday night ESPN.
Sure, absolutely. App State -7 at home. You're going to get some money on App State. I think App State, even though you're not supposed to tease college football, people probably look to tease App State. Total kind of bounced around a little bit. It was 58, went to 60. It's now back to 59. So people thinking there should be some points in that game. UNLV, I don't know. It's a tough spot. I heard Steve say, with UMass and UConn and UNLV, those are basically, 3-4 of the worst teams in the country. So, UNLV at home, getting all these points or I don't know. It's tough. I think people are just going to look to fade UNLV regardless, but I know you guys have talked about it. Probably the sharper people will look to maybe take the points, but public will definitely fade UNLV, no doubt about it.
Art DiCesare joining us, a Westgate SuperBook supervisor. It's a bunch of freaking alliterations in there, bro. Holy moly. Yeah. Love it. Art, let's turn our attention to NFL. Look, I'm going to leave this broad. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And can you talk about the Rams-Tampa Bay game?
Sure. I would say the couple of things I'll throw out there. Patriots are getting a lot of money. No shock there. Once again, a lot of times we go off the last thing we saw. Patriots look good. They bounce back. They got to win. But, it's against the Jets. We know how bad the Jets are. And, man, the Saints look terrible. So, -3, everyone's going to be on the Patriots. So, a lot of Patriot money coming in so far. Interesting one. Chargers were 7. Now it's 6.5. People like the Chargers. Obviously, we know how good Kansas City is, but Kansas City has had a real problem winning games and not covering games. So basically, when it was 7, people jumped on the 7 divisional game, getting a touchdown. Kansas City never covers. That's going all the way back to last year. So you saw people jump on the Chargers. And yeah, the Tampa Ram game, very interesting game. We're definitely getting some Ram money, but you will get Tampa money. I think that probably will end up being split action. Obviously, it's basically a pick up -1, whatever it's at right now. So that's probably the game of the weekend. And, does Tampa and Brady, even though Brady never looks ahead, is he looking ahead to next week when he gets to go home and play maybe one of the biggest games in NFL history in New England? So very interesting spot for Tampa.
So I want to ask you about the quarterback injuries in the NFL. We had Tua just get announced as being out for Miami, and the markets have basically yawned. Maybe a half-point move towards the Raiders after Tua was announced as out today. We have a line up for Tennessee Indy, even though we have no idea if Carson Wentz is going to go this week. And this is very different. This is a change in the NFL marketplace compared to what we, when I first came out to Vegas, you wouldn't see a line on Indy, Tennessee all week until we knew who the starting quarterback was. Now, the books are willing to take that risk of getting sided one way or the other because they want the action throughout the course of the week. When it comes to QB injuries, first talk about the fact that there's a line up for Indy, Tennessee, and then talk about some of the issues that the books have with pricing teams starter versus backup and the type of adjustments you have to make. Is it how good you think they are, or how good you think or how much money you think you're going to take on the other side when making those adjustments based on starter versus backup at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I think it's both, Teddy. I think you have to look at both sides of that. How good do we think the backup is? Also, how much money do we think will flood in on the team that, or against the team that's having the quarterback issues? But yeah, you said it perfectly with the Indy game. Yeah, and even when I started in this business, 4 or 5 years ago, you would never put a lineup on a team that had quarterback issues. I mean, you'd wait till late Saturday night if you had to put a lineup, even early Sunday morning if it was like a 1 o'clock game. It didn't matter. We wouldn't do that. It just wasn't something you had. But like you said, now you want to, the risk teams will decide, hey, we could put a number up. And, you're putting a number up in the Colt game at like 5.5, which is kind of a weird number. It's not 3, it's not 7. So you're kind of in the middle there waiting for it to go one way or the other because you're still going to get money on the game. So, we're obviously in a brave new world with that. But, speaking of the Miami, with Tua being out, I don't even know if that's that big of a deal. Tua hasn't been that great. And, Brissett has played some NFL snaps. So, he's not just some, rookie like David Mills or, some no-name. Brissett's played some meaningful snaps in the NFL, and Tua hasn't been that great. So, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we get a lot of Raider money anyway, so we got some Raider liability. I don't know if, the Dolphins are really losing that much this week.
Art DiCesare, Art, I got a follow-up question to your NFL take. It's actually 2 questions, and that is, you talked about the Patriots taking money, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why we've seen a move already. There are 2.5s on the board, but what I wanted to mention is you mentioned that the Rams are taking money right now, but we have seen a move there as well. There are Tampa Bay -1.5 bets out there. So how is it that you're seeing the Rams taking money and yet the line is moving in Tampa's direction?
Eventually, sometimes you got to stay with markets and just the way it is, but eventually we will get money back on Tampa. So we already know, like I said, I think that will end up being split action eventually. So, the Ram will get money a little bit early, and then we'll get money going to Tampa. So it is always going to even itself out. Sometimes when the line moves, even if money's coming in the other way, we're just staying with the market or feeling something is coming. So, sometimes you get ahead of it a little bit.
Sure, and Art is in a position where he's seeing the action at the Westgate SuperBook, and he's going to report to us what he's seeing at his sports book. The broader global marketplace doesn't necessarily mirror any individual book, and that's certainly the case when it comes to Saints Patriots, which has seen sharp money towards the dog, and the books that cater to sharpest bettors have moved down on that game. The other books still at 3 and likely to stay there between now and kickoff.
All right, we're almost done, but I got to ask you one other question real quick. Now that you're at the Westgate, I assume they're still running that, what I knew a million years ago as the Hilton contest. My question to you is this. You usually get the 5 picks on around Friday, week after week after week. Do you see a correlation between those bets and what's about to come on Sunday? Like, does running that contest help you as you prepare for Sunday, knowing how many people are on each game?
That's an interesting question. I would say yes and no, because obviously the contest numbers are stale numbers. they don't move. So, when we put a line out, Wednesday morning for the contest, if it's, let's just say it was, next week, if it was, Patriots, getting 3 points, and then all of a sudden Brady's out and the line moves 4 points, like, obviously on the board it's moving, but the number is stale in the contest. So it's a little bit different. I think the way people attack the contest is a little bit different. I know for myself, I was in the super contest, for 7-8 years before I started there. So it's a totally different animal, I think. Also too, if you're in a contest, because also too, you're coming in on the weekend, you're seeing a lot of, weekend money come in. So the contest and the thing, I think it's totally different. I think I would say it's different.
Awesome stuff. Art, thank you for joining us, man. Congratulations again on your job. You guys can check him out on Twitter at ArtDice21, and you can check him out at the Westgate Sportsbook. Dude, get out of here. We got 152 likes, everybody. It's time. I don't know. That song gets me in a good mood. Took a while to find a groovy song. Dan T writes he ordered a tuna sub from Jersey Mike. Dan, I hate tuna. Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. Anyway, I just want to make mention I am passing tonight for my clients. And if you guys watching this on Twitter did not see WagerTalk Today, head over immediately to our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. What a show. Steve Merril was on, Art DiCesare. Teddy did a great job in his big game breakdown. Please check that out. Teddy, guys, I got 3 NFL plays to give out today, and I want to talk about them. Basically, what I want to mention is there's a huge difference between being a handicapper and making your bets. I bet every play that I release to my clients all the time, 100% of the time. If it is a release, I am betting it. However, in NFL football and college football, the lines move like crazy. Now, I was going to bet, I was all over the Bengals at +4.5, and I have that bet in. But now we have the Bengals at +3. I will not be releasing that to my clients anymore because we've missed the line. However, I am still recommending that play. New Orleans +3. A lot of people are liking New England, and I, don't understand it. I think New England stinks. That line is moving, so please, guys, if you're going to bet New Orleans, bet it now. And the last game I wanted to mention is the Green Bay Packers. This still will likely maybe be a play by me for my clients, but we've got line moves in that game too. So if you're going to bet Green Bay, bet them immediately. Thanks, everybody. What a great show, Teddy. I don't know what I'm eating yet, and I know you don't care. We got the NFL Presidential Address taping in 1 hour, and a ridiculously good promotion will be in there as well. It'll be up tomorrow morning. Brother, take us home.
Sure. Not only that I don't care about what you eat for lunch, nobody cares what Prez eats for lunch, except for Prez. And that's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Fill your cart at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and save 30% using coupon code SAVE30. Valid 3 days only, Wednesday, September 22nd through Friday, September 24th. Save over $10 on a 5% play. Save over $35 on a 7-day all-access package. Save over $600 on a full year of all-access and get in on every sport. Or load your cart with all of the above and save over $645. Remember, you can only use one coupon at WagerTalk and one coupon at Sports Memo per customer between now and Friday at midnight. So make sure to load your cart full and maximize your 30% savings.